right, lads. Finally, we are back after I feel like we say this every time now,
Yeah.
but from a bit of a hiatus. This time, I think it was kind of earned, this hiatus, because we did do a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff came in the way, at least.
Yes, absolutely. So this is just after Easter now, and we didn't let
Hmm.
Easter ruin this. I just got back from the countryside,
Yeah.
and you as well. So it was good now to be
Mm.
able to sit down and have a little chat. But yes, it was earned, like you said, like you mentioned. We just recently hit 20K followers on Instagram. Huge
All
thanks
right.
to
Yeah. True.
everyone. Uh,
Of course.
but what we did then, which was not as an effect of the 20K, but which was a nice timing, was we saw each other in Paris. And
Hmm.
yeah, you want to dive into a little bit what we did in Paris, lad?
Yeah, I mean, right after last episode, you hinted on that last episode, but you went to the Alps
Mm-hmm.
for a ski trip. So that's why we couldn't record 2 weeks after that. And then, I mean, right after that, pretty much the week after, we went to Paris. Like Ruben said, we went to Paris for Bell and Ross, the watch company. And I assume most of the people listening here have seen all the stuff we got into on Instagram. But basically, the watch company Bell and Ross launched their new cigar-inspired, cigar-themed edición limitada is what they call it. Limited edition
Yeah.
cigar-inspired watch, basically. And they had a big launch party. And through our friends at Le Fin Lam, the cigar accessory company, of course, we got an invite to this kind of small event. It was like 50 people there, and it was, a beautiful new watch, tons of champagne, hors d'oeuvres. We got to smoke their private label cigar in their showroom, and it was just mind blowing,
Yeah,
truly.
absolutely. It was. We were so happy for that invitation, and frankly, kind of shocked, to be invited
Mm,
to a watch release event uh,
yeah.
in Paris, nonetheless. So yeah, that was an amazing night, and yeah, it was fun to see
Yeah,
that.
we're not going to harp on it too
No,
much. Yeah,
exactly.
sorry, go
I was
ahead,
just
lad.
gonna say that it was obviously one of the reasons why they did this kind of edición limitada with cigar inspiration was due to the
Hmm.
fact that the founder and CEO Carlos
Right.
was a huge like cigar aficionado himself and collector.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
so that was one of the reasons. But like you said, we're not going to go into it too much here on the podcast since we hopefully pretty soon we'll be posting a little vlog kind of thing. Some pictures and scenes from the night and event on YouTube. So yeah, not to dwell on it too much here on the pod.
Yeah. Yeah, no, a good video is going to be coming up soon. We did get some really good video for you guys, so rather than us just talk about it kind of half-assedly here, we can give you guys hopefully a very enjoyable video, hopefully soon, like we said. So yeah, I guess I mean, yeah, after that it was Easter, so I mean, we literally just got back, both of us today, to our
Yeah,
towns, I guess, from celebrating with the family and stuff. So really, the first opportunity to record in a long time, and it feels
yeah,
good to be back. And it feels good to be back to hearing what is, I'm gonna say, what is in your mug today, lad, because I've
exactly.
seen it already.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's audible through the mic or anything, but I am feeling a little bit sick or just stuffed up after this weekend. Not sure really what happened, but yeah, like you heard, it's been busy and it's been a lot going on, so might have caught something there. But yes, so in my mug today, if I get to the point, I have some green tea with lemon. Very cozy. I think it's one of the first
Nice.
times on here I have something non-alcoholic. I mean, you suggested a hot toddy, but
True.
I was not really in that mood.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
I always think that, like, it sounds like a nice thing, a hot toddy, but when you're actually sick, it doesn't. Like, you don't want
yeah, no,
alcohol in any
exactly.
sense when you're
Right.
actually ill.
But yeah, let me return the question, and hopefully you have a bit more of an interesting answer than my green tea with lemon.
Yeah, I went for the hot toddy minus everything but the whiskey, I guess. So just a glass of whiskey. In other words, I have amnesia with all this stuff now. I can't remember, but it's the Macallan 12. I can't remember if I had this on the podcast before or not. This is the Macallan 12 Sherry
Yeah.
Oak cask. So it's just, yeah, it's a 12-year-old Speyside Macallan Scotch. their standard line, but it's the sherry oak, so it's only matured in one type of cask. Only it's sherry from start to finish. So it has this very dark, nice, lovely color, and very like fruity, rich, dark fruit notes and palate and everything. So it's really, really nice, actually.
Did you get a lot of whiskey in during the Easter holidays?
No, actually, not a lot. Oh wow, that's really good. I had like one glass on Saturday. I had a bunch of cigars and a bunch of like Easter ales and stuff with the Swedish Easter food. You want that heavy, like darker beer. It's good. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, lads. So obviously this is a cigar podcast, so we will get into some cigar stuff. But you had prepared something, right, lad, to get us in the warming up kind of.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Since this is kind of like just an episode to get the ball rolling again with the pod, like we've been away, we're doing kind of a mixed bag of things here. So I prepared a little quiz here for you, lad. I mean, it's often Carl putting me on the other side of the questions, so we thought roles reversed here, and so I decided to shape this quiz kind of just looking at the top 7 cigar producing countries, and picked out a question for each country.
Interesting.
So it's very diverse in what they are about.
Good.
Whether it be history or just facts or about cigars. So they're all about cigars though. that's the one common denominator.
All right, let's see. I'm nervous for this now because it's only been the other way around, like you said. So let's see what happens here.
All right, let's kick it off with Nicaragua. So what I wanted to ask you here is start off easy a bit. Like, how many cigars does the great nation of Nicaragua produce in a year, hosting brands such as Padron, Oliva, and AJ Fernandez? This is 2019. I give you some multiple choice here, actually.
Okay, thank God.
100, 150, or 200 million cigars annually.
200 million.
It's actually dead in the middle there. 150 cigars annually in 2019.
That's a good question, because the only reference point I had was I remember reading about Arturo Fuentes, but I couldn't remember now, because I'd read decently recently how many cigars they make in a year, but I couldn't remember. So I was like thinking, how much does Fuente make? Times that by a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, interesting. 150.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Right.
That's a lot. But
it is
maybe
a lot, right?
little bit less than I thought, to be honest, because the U.S. consumes.
Apparently, right?
Yeah. Interesting. Good number.
So let's just keep going. We're going to Ecuador next. So we recently made a podcast about Cameroon and Ecuador, these two wrapper tobaccos that pride many great cigars. And one of the reasons why wrapper tobacco was so good to grow in Ecuador was due to the constant cloud cover that only lets 500 sun hours reach the tobacco plants in a year, acting as a natural cheesecloth. So what is the Spanish word used for cheesecloth?
This is easy. Tapado. Because, you know why it's easy? Because I very recently recorded the Vegueros Tapados review. And obviously that kind of freshened up the mind on the meaning of that word. So yeah, tapado.
Very good. You're on the board now. Okay, next up we have the Dominican Republic. What is the town called in which Dominican cigar production is centered around? Here you also have some multiple choice.
I got it, lad. It's Santiago.
You got it? Okay, so this is actually like more like specifically.
Okay,
like
so it's more town. It's not even okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So like where they grow the.
Santiago's the closest big city. Yeah,
exactly.
Let me hear the.
Okay, so I'll give you multiple choice. This might be just choosing out of a hat, but it's okay. Villa Gonzalez, Villa Altagracia, or Villa Vasquez.
Oh, I don't know. Altagracia, maybe.
It's Villa Gonzalez.
Yeah,
I was
interesting.
I just chose 3 different. It was Villa Gonzalez, and then I looked around a map in the Dominican Republic and just found some other Villa towns.
Okay, interesting.
So Villa Gonzalez is said to be to the Dominican Republic as Pinar del Rio is to Cuba, is what I found here when looking around.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's right outside, but that, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
The Santiago is an actual city, so you can't grow there. Right, I see. Okay, good, interesting.
Nice. Okay. Next up we have Cuba, and it goes without saying that Cuba as a country and culture is obviously highly associated with cigars. Cigars actually accounting for 27% of the country's exports.
Wow.
But in a country where tobacco is so prominent, how many people actually smoke? And this is smoking in general.
Yeah, it's got
because it didn't find any statistics about only cigars.
Yeah.
But I do have multiple choice here as well. Is it 15%, 25%, or 40%? This is also fairly recently, so
25%.
Correct.
I just know because the only reason I know it can't be 40 is because I remember I have read about like some of the crazy high smoking percentage countries in the world. They're actually in like the Pacific. There's some of the Pacific islands there, like Kiribati, for example. Like it's some of those islands that were not too much in contact with the Western world, and then when like much like Native Americans and alcohol, you've heard like as soon as they got introduced to it, they got hit really bad because it hadn't been part of the culture. Like cigarettes apparently really hit a lot of those Pacific islands really bad, and like the whole population basically started smoking as soon as they could. And like the highest I've ever read there is like 70% of Kiribati.
Oh man,
and that's like really bad. So I was like, there's no way Cuba can be that.
Yeah,
close. 25 is pretty high. That's crazy.
Yeah, 25 exactly. 1 in every 4 people, and this was. I mean, there's a pretty fast annual decrease in smoking, even in Cuba. I mean, in 2010, I think it was well above 30. So I mean, it's declining pretty rapidly even. Yeah. So 25 in this day, compared to Sweden, which is 6%.
Damn.
And the U.S., which is 12%. So,
interesting.
Oh, makes sense. Okay, moving on. Mexico, or should I say Mexipuro? Cigar Mexicers in Mexico have traditionally only used... Okay, so cigar makers in Mexico have traditionally only used locally grown tobacco, largely because restrictive tariffs have made it difficult to import foreign tobacco. So how long did Mexipuro last? Or, in other terms, when did the first non-puro make it out of Mexico?
Wow.
So we have 1976, 1986, or 96.
96, I'd guess.
96 is correct.
Interesting. Because I know the Turrent family haven't been doing stuff for I mean, they've been growing tobacco for a long time, but like all their own brands and stuff are pretty damn new. So that, it feels like it would be very early. That's crazy though. That's so young compared to a lot of other countries. That's mid-boom.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Interesting. Wow, the first ever. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That was a fun fact, Lahad. That was a really good one.
All right. Second to last one, Honduras.
All right.
So you can find Honduran tobacco hidden, or should I say included, in many cigars. But which one of the following cigars does not contain Honduran tobacco? So you have the Camacho Ecuador, Rocky Patel The Edge, or Edgar Julian Suede's Cinque Terre.
Oh, wow. You really threw me a curveball there.
Yeah.
Because I know Rocky and Camacho both have production in Honduras. So I would be very surprised if any of them don't use any local leaf at all. But I know, Edgar has 5 leaves, so it would be kind of crazy if he doesn't have any Honduran at all. Lad, you gotta let me stall. I just gotta try to count from my head now what Cinque Terre has in it.
Go ahead. I must say, while you do this, I really like your thought process, and this is exactly why I chose these 3.
I'm gonna guess Edgar's. Because I can't remember any of his other cigars ever having Honduran.
Yeah, that is correct. He does not have Honduran in his Cinque Terre. I added that one, like you said, because there's 5 different countries' tobaccos in it.
Right, yeah, he even has Haitian tobacco and not Honduran.
Haitian,
so
exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, very good.
I couldn't imagine Rocky or Camacho having non-Honduran. I mean, it's so economically viable when you're producing in that nation to have use your local tobacco as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Nicely
Good question,
done.
man.
All right, let's cap this one off with a bit of a long pretext here, but it's the United States, so last but certainly not least, a huge player in the cigar industry, well, obviously in regards to consumption, production, and of course history. The U.S. has altered the landscape of cigar industry, obviously with the trade embargo in '62, but like we've discussed in like our podcast previously in the Fuente episode, in the late 1800s as well, when the U.S. became a haven for cigar production, attracting Cuban immigrants like, Ybor, obviously. And this led to the establishment of Tampa and Ybor City and the flocking of many cigar-producing families, amongst others the Newmans of J.C. Newman today. Right. So there in Ybor City, their first cigar brand was rolled in their historic factory El Reloj with the name The American. Right. So patriotic. So right. The American was obviously an American puro consisting of 4 different tobaccos from the U.S., 2 filler, and is even packed into boxes and cellophane produced in America. So now I want you to name as many of the 4 tobaccos used in the cigar, and if you can, in the correct place of the cigar.
Okay, the correct place, I have no clue, actually. Well, I'm going to guess it's a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper. If I can guess if there's a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper.
That's why I added the correct place, because there is Connecticut broadleaf, but it's in the binder. It's the binder.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So is the wrapper Pennsylvania broadleaf then?
No.
Wow. Okay, then I'm almost lost immediately. But is there not Pennsylvania broadleaf in there at all?
There's Pennsylvania Amish in the filler.
Oh wow. Okay. I mean, is there do they? I mean, the Florida Sun Grown, is that the wrapper?
Yep, that is the wrapper.
Okay, interesting.
And then so now there's just the.
Those are the 3.
Filler.
Those are the 3 American.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Those are the 3 American tobaccos that I know of. Let me see if I can pull anything out of my ass here. Because obviously Connecticut Shade, but if that's not the wrapper, then that would be surprising if that's the filler.
Yeah.
Because that's never used as filler. Almost.
Exactly. No, you're along the right lines now of like it's a Connecticut.
Okay, so it is another Connecticut grown.
Yeah.
I don't know, lad. I actually don't know.
Nah, this is obviously a super tough question. I'm glad you handled it well. You have the Connecticut Havana as the other filler.
Oh, that's very cool. Wow, I want to try this cigar now.
Yeah, it was pretty fascinating when I saw this cigar. I mean, there's so just on the Newman's website on this the American cigar, you can just see how patriotic it is, because like I said, they're packed into the bands are
everything's American made.
American, the cellophane is American, the box is American, and it's just all throughout.
It's very patriotic. Damn, that's really cool. I wonder what I just tried to Google real quick. Pennsylvania Amish. I don't know if that's like a strain or something. I mean, all I know about Pennsylvania is the Pennsylvania broadleaf, which is not very favored nowadays. I mean, it's not too used because it's expensive to produce tobacco in the U.S. and it's not the best compared to Connecticut. So that's interesting. Great questions, Lyle. You challenged me. I don't know what I landed on, like 3 out of 6 or something.
Let's
not even.
I think so. Probably it was 7 though.
Oh, okay, nice.
But but you did well. I think you did well. This was I think it was a lot of random stuff.
No, but that was good. It was they were all interesting at least. That's the least you.
No, I think you got at least. No, you got at least 4. I think, lad.
All right, good. That's passing. I think, right? 4 out of 7.
Yeah.
Almost passing. in Thank you for that, lad. That was a lot of questions, but those the questions are not over because, like Ruben said, I mean this podcast was sort of just to get the ball rolling again, and we have very structured podcasts coming up. We have some cool guests that we're excited to have. So we just wanted to do a little chill chat here and also involve, I guess, you guys indirectly with some Q&A questions. So basically, we just asked on Instagram for you guys to send in any and all questions you have. I think almost all of them were cigar related, but it was open for anything, and we would just quick fire sort of answer the questions as thoroughly as they need to be. Sometimes it can just be a quick one sentence answer, I guess. But yeah, so we have a bunch of questions. We'll see how many we do. It depends on how long you guys can bear our rambles here. But I guess I'll ask you first here, lad. The first question, because today was the first day that really felt like summer. So I thought we would start this off because the weather was amazing here.
Right.
So what is a cigar that you've been looking forward to this summer? And this is a good question for us in Sweden here because you and I always talk about, oh, wow, this is one that we want to smoke this summer because this is too big for winter for sure. So is there anything that comes to mind, lad?
Well, obviously, you think about a big cigar that you can, can last an evening. I think one that I've been wanting to smoke now for a long time is the Sir Winston H. Upman. It's been sitting a long time in my humidor.
It really has.
And I don't know why we haven't smoked. Like, felt like I've been saying that each summer now that I'm gonna smoke it, but just haven't done it. So definitely the Sir Winston. We bought that on the Black Friday
in 2019. I just went through
Black Friday. Yeah, 2019 exactly. So so yeah, I'd say that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how about you, lad? That's a really solid one. I know mine's sort of along the same route. This one I got in the end of 2020 from our friend Manny. It's the La Flor Dominicana Andalusian Bull. It's that massive stick that reportedly takes 3 hours to smoke, and you really need a summer evening for that one. Yeah, it's like I've been wanting to do a review on it, but I also want to smoke one with him because he has them himself, and like you really need like a really good summer evening for a 3 hour stick.
Right.
I'm surprised you didn't say the Kraken though, lad. We got this 8x80 cigar.
I was just gonna fish it up out of my humidor as an extra. Oh my god, I'm holding it right now and it's staring me right in the face.
It's ridiculous. It's a stick that Michael from Germany
Lunatico
sent us. It's this brand called the Kraken, and it's an 8-inch by 80 ring gauge cigar. It looks unbelievable when you actually see it in person. Like it looks like a prop or like a goof or something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. All right,
lad. Keep going.
Continuing. Okay. So, favorite cigar so far of 2022?
Yeah, I was just going through our Instagram right now because I'm trying to remember here what.
Yeah.
The years kind of melted together. Like I was like, it's got to be.
I know. I feel the same.
Yeah, it's got to be the Fuente Don Arturo. I thought first, but it's like no. I had that kind of in tandem with my birthday, so that was in December of last year.
Right, and I had that one on New Year's Eve before a day off. Yeah. A day off. Fuck.
I'm trying to see here. Last year was very clear. I remember having the Don Carlos Double Robusto early off in the year, and it was really mind blowing. I haven't had anything that's like blown my socks off since the start of the year, to be honest. I think one that comes to mind that was really good. I mean, it always kind of blurs, right? Like the Kidose Libano regional, the Baalbek that we had in Paris last week. We had that in a lounge in Paris. It was so beautiful you wouldn't believe it, the lounge. I mean, we had that with champagne to celebrate 20,000 followers on Instagram in the best way possible we could in Paris, right? And I think just the moment, everything brought together, and the fact that cigar, you had a little bit of burning troubles with that one, but mine was really good. I think that one might actually be it for me so far.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to like piggyback on that answer because I've spent a lot of time now in Lund and haven't really gotten my cigar weeks in.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely that setting in that lounge, it was just an incredible And we talk, at least I talk a lot about like how the setting does a lot for me. You know, enjoying a cigar, and yeah, so I'm gonna say that is my most enjoyed cigar so far of 22 at least. And
I was thinking back
yeah,
in the
obviously
beginning
it was
of
a great cigar.
maybe, I mean, the Tatuaje in Portugal is really good in the beginning of the year as well. I love that one. You had one of his
Right.
cheaper blends. I mean, maybe that wasn't as
Yeah.
mind blowing of a cigar itself, but that was really nice. Some of those, I mean, we
And
had a
also
lot
I
of
just
cigars
remembered that
in the first week.
I just remembered that entire trip on the other side of the year, like in 2021. You know,
The first week of 2022, we really had a lot of cigars.
True.
All right, lad, close to this. I think the reason I included this question is also because I think we might have reached the amount necessary here, but we should say, the first question was from Dune House, the second was from Andrew Majorino, and this third question is from MC Venom, who asks top 5 countries you visited and smoked in. Have you reached 5?
As in 5 countries that I've smoked in.
Yeah, I actually had a cigar in.
Don't think so.
Because you've done, I mean, for me at least, I have had cigars in Brazil. I've had cigars in Sweden, so 2. I mean, Sweden's not a visiting. I'm just trying to think if I've actually had. Yeah. Because we haven't traveled enough now.
You were in Greece.
True. Okay, so I've definitely reached it. I forgot about Greece. Yes, and then Portugal, London, Paris. So definitely.
Oh, okay. Then I'm also on the. Actually, now Paris, and I had a cigar in Chamonix as well, but that's also France. So.
True. Damn, you should have snuck across the border, lad. Done it in Switzerland instead.
Yeah, I know. Right when we landed in Geneva.
Yeah, you should have done it. They probably have a lounge in that airport. The Swiss love their cigars.
So. Yeah.
I'd say okay. So top.
Okay.
What's your top, lad? We'll do our top 3 each because this will go too long.
Yeah, that we've smoked in. So okay. Then I'm gonna say London number 1. Okay, I did this in the wrong order. Should start 3, 2, 1, but I don't want to leave any suspense. Let's just okay. London, Paris, number 2, right? France, and then am I forgetting something now? Or
Portugal.
I'm gonna say, obviously. Oh God. Okay, let's actually do Portugal number 2. No. Okay. Screw this list. The only thing why I put London and UK first was just because of JJ Fox.
Yeah, that's
but the other smoke that we had was absolutely terrible and one of the worst ones I've ever had. So okay,
mine's Paris for number 1 for sure.
I'm gonna say Paris 1, Portugal 2, London 3. Let's just say it like that.
Yeah, I mean, JJ Fox was so unbelievable. I think our mindset too, we were very young still, and like we had never smoked in a lounge before, and that was like the first lounge I'd ever smoked. I mean, that's like unbelievable at JJ Fox. So I know, you hold that highly because of that memory. I guess that.
This is when we realized that we actually are very young.
Yeah.
Like,
because that wasn't that long ago. I mean, 4 years ago, I guess.
But hopefully we'll be able to update this list continuously.
I think mine's pretty much the same. I mean, I had a cigar for New Year's Eve in Rio on a yacht, like overlooking Copacabana with like the fireworks, and that one memory is like unbelievable. So that might actually take 3, a little over Portugal, because it's just the one thing. Like Portugal was overall really nice smoking on but it's just like this one memory that's like hard to replicate.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, we had some pretty good international cigar experiences. For sure.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I probably should have a few more since I was in Central America for a while, but that was before it really kicked off, you know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you were too busy, right?
Yeah.
And it's not actually. It's a fun fact that it's really hard to buy and smoke cigars in some of those countries, like Nicaragua. It's extremely difficult because you have to. They have to export their own cigars and then import them back into their own country. I think we mentioned this before. So it's not as good unless you're actually traveling to farms, as you might think.
No, exactly, yeah.
All right, lad.
All right. From next one, we have underscore will dot yog, I think. Underscore.
Yeah.
You can only choose one cigar brand to smoke going into the future. Which one do you choose?
All right, let's sort of quick fire this one because I think we've sort of discussed it. I think it's still going to
I think
be
so
H.
too.
Upmann for me because
Yeah,
I love
we
the
were
brand
just
so
saying
much,
that.
and I have I have the quad sort of. I can even say 4 cigars. Look, the half Corona is incredible for the winter. The Majestics are a really good budget longer cigar that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the Magnum 46,
Sir
which is my
Winston.
favorite. Yeah, Magnum 46 first though, which is
Yeah.
my favorite Vitola, and I
Right.
really love that cigar. And you have the Sir Winston for that ultra premium
Mm-hmm.
sort of level. So I think H. Upmann for me is just it's sort of perfect for that kind of thing to choose one brand. What about you, lad?
Right. Okay, let me say Arturo Fuente.
Mm. If you're in the U.S., they have
Yeah.
so much more. They have the most. You can buy like $2 Arturo Fuente cigars. That they have like their budget line, which we don't get here in Sweden.
Yeah.
And you got so much cool stuff. You got Maduros, you got Cameroon wrappers, you got
Mhm.
Naturals, you got Connecticut's,
Exactly. Yeah.
Candelas. I had a Fuente Candela for St.
for
Patrick's.
St. Patrick's Day, right?
Yeah, not bad.
Sweet.
All right, lad. What are some of your daily smokes and humidor staples from Bro Leo or Brow Leo?
Okay, what I have.
Tell me
is,
this. Let me ask you.
yeah.
Let me ask you a different one because you don't have daily smokes, right? I mean, I don't have
No,
daily
exactly.
smokes either.
Yeah.
What cigar do you have the most of in your humidor right now? Do you know?
It probably would have been the. Okay, actually, I do know because I got them from my grandpa. So it's the Romeo Julieta
Daily
Perfectos
smoke.
ones. Yeah.
A
The ones
1987
from-
cigar.
Yeah, those are the ones I have the most of since I got the entire box pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I think it might be the Partagas Capitals. No. It's the Aging Room that I have the most of.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Quattro.
that's right here, the Quattro.
True.
Nicaraguan there. Yeah, that is the one I have the most of because
We got half a
well,
box each. Yeah. True.
exactly. So, but other than that, the Capitals, and then I have a few of the North Stars.
Mm.
The Rafael Gonzalez.
True. We split a box of those as well.
Yeah. How about
Yeah,
you, lad?
It's tough
The
to say
more
daily smokes.
Daily
I mean,
smoker.
the one I have the most of for sure is like I have almost like I think I have like 20 quick and dirties. It's this Caldwell like exclusive bundle cigar for Sweden that I just picked up a bunch of. I guess that would be my filler and daily smoke. They're really good and they're very, very cheap. So I'd say those. And then like the up and half Coronas for Cubans. I mean, those I can burn through anytime, really. I mean, that's the one cigar I can smoke at any time, any moment, and always enjoy it. All right, next up, lad. This actually came up during our talk with Fuente and Meet the Professor and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just say our piece on this for once and for all, I guess. What do we
Right.
think about the Cigar Aficionado top cigar rating? Do we, I guess, agree or disagree? This is from Mikael's Cigar.
Mm-hmm. I guess it's difficult to say like if you agree or disagree since there are 25 cigars on there that like I don't try all of them like in a year. But what is to be said, like we've scanned through the top 25 ratings that they've had every year and gone through. There's a lot of the same brands on there really showing up in the places, and some I think really you can see the brands that are constantly doing what's like good and stuff like that. And tried some of the winners, of course, and fantastic cigars. But some of them.
I think to also just like add a little on what you said there, because you made a really good point, which is the fact that, and I don't think a lot of people have done this, but you and I went through every single year almost after we talked to Pete Johnson, because he's been on there every year except for one.
Yeah.
And that can in one way be an indication of quality, but it's also very much an indication of the fact that it's a tiny panel. The Cigar Aficionado guys that do the reviewing, there are only a few people that actually does it. So obviously it's going to be extremely catered to their palates, right? And if you look through the list, it's a lot of full-bodied stuff. Whenever it's Cuban cigars, it's Cohiba, it's sometimes Trinidad, it's a lot of Bolivar, which says a lot as well because it's heavier. And there's a lot of Partagas too. You barely ever get Hoyo de Monterrey. You barely ever get those lighter brands. That is a huge indication. So in a way, is it a be-all, end-all top 25? No, definitely not. I don't agree with that. Though I agree that it's like pretty good list to try if you feel like you sort of agree with their palates. Yeah, 100%. But that's the same way as like watching my reviews, for example. Like it's I take it with a huge grain of salt because it's my palate, right? So it's like when I do top 3 cigars of the year, that's the ones I enjoy. So it's obviously going to be a lot more medium-bodied stuff and a mix of Cubans and non-Cubans. So people take it too literally, I think. The top, like, people are like, that's not a top 25 cigar. Well, yeah, in their palate it is, in yours it isn't. You know, it's a little silly to argue, I think.
I mean, I think it still gets a lot of hype, which is good because, I mean, a lot of good cigars come out from it as well, or at least we've been able to try some good cigars from just, you know, the list being as widely regarded as it is. So that's, I'm still excited when the list rolls around, you know, and they come 100%. Out with their scores.
All right, next up, Lod.
All right, so 1984 Cigars asks, have you ever tried any Brazilian cigar? If yes, which one is your favorite?
Yeah, definitely. This can go two ways, right? I mean, obviously, some Brazilian cigars are some of the first stuff I tried because obviously I'd moved from Brazil pretty recently right as I started getting into cigars. I'd lived in Brazil, so obviously it was very intriguing. Yeah. Brazilian puros, there's not a lot, especially outside of Brazil. They have their Danemans, they have their Dona Flores and stuff that we don't really get outside of Brazil that much. The one puro that I've had that I've really loved, and I've recently bought a bunch more, I have a few more of them now, is the Alonso Menendez line. Obviously, the Menendez family is a big cigar family, but they have this line of cigars where it's all Mata Fina tobacco. So it's very creamy, rich, chocolatey. So they're super good. They're very fairly priced because just Brazilian tobacco isn't that expensive in general. Because it isn't the most sought after. They're very simple. They're very one-note wonders because it's all the same tobacco. But they're super, super good. Now, I really want to smoke one, actually. I might do that in the coming weeks. That I have had, and that's a really good one. Then the CAO Brasilia was one of the first ones I've ever had. Right. With the Brazilian wrapper only, though. The rest is Nicaraguan, which was okay. The Nub Maduro as well I've had. That also has, both of those have Arapiraca wrapper, which is a different, it's not Mata Fina. Other than that, I'm not sure. I mean, there's always a lot of...
Brick House?
Brick House I have in my humidor. I haven't had the Maduro, though, yet. Then there is, I know there are some Drew Estates with some Brazilian, I think maybe the Undercrown Maduro, if I'm not completely mistaken, has, oh no, it's a San Andres. No, it has Brazilian filler. It has Brazilian filler. Yeah. Right. But yeah, so I mean, I guess a lot then, because it shows up more than you expect.
Not as much, but yeah, the Undercrown Maduro, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I think you shed some good light on Brazilian tobacco there, so I don't have much to add, actually.
Yeah, they're very underrated, I'd say, especially the Alonso Menendez. I think you should try them if you can get them. All right, next one. This was sort of a discussion. I'm gonna start it off, lad, because I actually have a lot of thoughts on this one. This is Norvik_AZ. He asked about the subset of Cigar Guys. And this is so true. I mean, there are so many cigar guy stereotypes. Basically, he said there's the rough and tough guy, the suit and tie crowd, etc. I think there are some very, very clear distinctions here, because in Sweden you see two main groups. It's the hipster guys that drink a lot of microbrewery beer. They have beards, they have tattoos. They're those kind of guys, and they smoke non-Cubans all the time. They love shopping at these stores that carry a lot of smaller non-Cuban brands. They're very like obviously over exaggerating here with stereotypes, but they're anti-establishment, sort of like, oh, Cubans are so aristocratic and like old timey, and you know they like the sort of Gurkha style bands, and everything's like a little more rough and tough. So that definitely exists. And there's the old guard, more gentlemanly style that smokes Cubans. But I think within these groups, there's a lot of like really obvious types. There's the collectors that just smoke stuff for its looks and its values. They're the guys in general that just smoke Cubans or Davidoffs that are really expensive and don't touch anything else. Then there's sort of the bon vivant types, right? These are like I think we're sort of in this category a little bit, because like it's people that love drinks and food and cigars. Like, cigars sort of fit into that whole world of the whole, senses and that stuff. But then there's also a big like nerd group as well, I think, sort of connected to that. Maybe they don't love other stuff, but they're the hyper nerds. And I think we also sort of fit in there because they're the people that smoke absolutely everything. And those are like really clear sort of types that I see. And it's very, very true. I think you can go to anyone's Instagram and almost immediately see what kind they are. I don't know if you've thought about this a lot.
I've thought about it in the like through the people that we've met and or engaged with through through the page, and just also through some of the people we met from like the industry. If I can say like Pete Johnson, who was this, came from a rock band and then started the cigar brand called literally Tattoo. You have that kind of guy, and then you have the more, I guess, the very dandy Jeremiah Marapfel, and Aaron Sigmund, which is more of the, like you said, the bon vivant,
elegant guys,
kind of style. Yeah, exactly. True. So there's definitely a difference, and it's amazing that like this one product can be shared by so many different types of people as well, which is
and then there's two more that really come to mind to complete my collection of the stereotypical guys, but there's the obviously the very much the newbie who doesn't really know anything but is very enthusiastic, and I love that kind of person that's just gotten into it. But then lastly, there is a sort of conspiracy type person. I see these people on Reddit a lot. It's the people that don't believe notes exist. Like, they don't even think other people can have a different palate. They're like, oh, everyone that says they can taste chocolate in a cigar, they're bullshitting, right? It's either good or bad. And there's a lot of people that say that, right? Like, a cigar can be good or bad, and that's it, sort of. And they have their, like, 3-4 brands that they smoke, and they don't touch anything else. They smoke a lot of bundle cigars, because basically what they comment is there a good draw? Is there a good construction? Is there a good smoke output, and does it taste good? That's a big crowd. I see them mostly on Reddit. Those guys seem to stay away from Instagram because I don't think they're into showing stuff more. I guess they just think everything's marketing, everything's kind of bullshit, and cigars are all just what you enjoy, and they're all the same basically. I guess there's a big crowd of that. So yeah, I definitely think there's a subset of cigar guys. All right, lad, I want to ask you a quick question here from Aaron Sigmund that you mentioned, Sig Cigar. You guys will see this in the vlog if you didn't see it on our stories, but Ruben had I liked his outfit. It was a very good and dandy outfit. We got a lot of positives from it, but Aaron Sigmund asked, where can I send you a better tie for Christmas? Do you have any rebuttal on that one, lad?
Well, my rebuttal would be that it is my favorite tie and that a few people seem to like it anyway. So I'm happy for that response. But
you got a lot of compliments.
But yeah, Sig, next time, or when we meet for the first time, that can be an exchange of gifts. I'll have something for you. Good
lad.
Okay, so moving on. How are we doing time-wise, lad? Do we have time for like a long question?
Yeah. We'll do a few more. We'll do a few more quick fire rounds. We'll do a few more.
Yeah. Okay. Let's continue with V de Sicchio, 1989. Asks, is it safe to say all hotel lobby shops sell authentic Cuban cigars?
Okay, so this one I wanted to include. We didn't include every single question here, but I wanted to include this one because this is interesting, and I've seen this on Reddit a lot in the cigar community. Basically, a lot of Americans, especially that travel to Punta Cana in the DR, for example, they get duped in the hotel lobbies because if you're staying at a 4-star hotel or whatever it may be, a reputable, good hotel, you assume that obviously the drinks in the bars are going to be genuine, right? Obviously, you've never batted an eye on that. And that kind of translates to oftentimes these resorts have a guy that they take from the outside that sells cigars. And you just expect that a hotel would never not check their sources, right? But every single time, almost, these are fake cigars. I mean, almost every single time. Because the hotel manager does not know anything about cigars, especially Cuban cigars. He has a cousin who knows a friend who imports fake Cubans. That's how it goes. And that guy comes in and he says, yeah, they're great. And the Americans in general don't know the difference and they get duped. So I'd say it's safe to say that hotel lobbies are always fake. That should be your expectation, because these hotel lobby salesmen, they aren't actually employed by the hotel, rarely ever. These are guys that they kind of contract. They can come in, they can set up their shop, and they can sell cigars and make profit off of those cigars. They aren't actually on payroll. So I'd say the opposite,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a gold mine for them, just to have, tourists that don't really know. Like they know they want a cigar, but they don't know exactly what it is, right? So they have a gold mine there, and what they can dupe you into.
Yeah, so always stay away from that. Only buy cigars in real shops. No real stores putting cigars on a table in the open. All right, like quick fire one. Do you like the beer and cigar combo? I think we've mentioned this.
I do. I like a like a Maduro cigar with a stout or porter. I think is a very nice combo. If you're going that way, I mean, there's many different cigar and beer combos you can do, just because the big variety in cigars, and also the even bigger variety in beers. I have not had a beer or like a pale ale with a cigar. I just realized when talking about the variety in beers. I do like pale ales. I know you don't fancy them as much, but
I like pale ales, not Indian pale ales too much. I don't like the hoppiness too much. The fruity hoppiness. It's not my vibe that much.
I'm gonna have a cigar with an IPA or something pretty soon.
Good on. We're just getting inspired to smoke and drink here.
Yeah.
All right, next one, Lon.
How about you, Lon? Do you have a?
Oh yeah, of course I do. It's, in general, for me, it's Maduros and it's porters or stouts. That's been the winner for me. I had an Ashton aged Maduro and a porter beer a few weeks ago, and it was really good. So that's the way to go for me.
Yeah. All right. Let's go with Lucas Continentino, who asks, "Are budget Cuban brands worth aging?" Such as, and then he puts in brackets Quintero, JLP.
That's an interesting question. It's one that we get a lot, and I have talked to a lot of people about this in the DM. Sort of, I'm going to share some wisdom that Jose Blanco, I think, might have said on our podcast, or he might have told us this in private when we were chatting before or after or something. But on aging, great tobacco ages into fantastic tobacco. Shitty tobacco ages into shitty tobacco. So, and
now
that's
you
what he
sound
said,
exactly
basically.
like it. Yeah. I love it.
I was gonna do a New York accent, but I couldn't even muster the courage to do that to Don Jose. But basically, I mean, if the cigar you're having is tasting like shit after 2 years, it's not gonna age into anything good. I mean, basically, there's like two levels of aging. When you buy Cuban cigars, they're in general very young. When they're under a year old, they'll age into much better than that, because at that point they have a lot of ammonia still in general, so they're not even smokable. But then when they get to over a year, if they don't taste like anything, they're not going to age and get flavors. Cuban cigars will never receive new flavors. They in general they won't go from tasteless to tasteful in years.
Right.
Basically, what you taste can evolve into something more pronounced. It can evolve into a little more complex. But yeah, bad cigars don't age into anything good, basically. So JLPs can age really well, and I've had older JLPs that have tasted fantastic because they've probably been pretty good smokes before that, and they've really kind of matured well. But if you have tasteless cigars, they're not going to be good. So like with all Cuban brands, it's going to be a mixed bag. I mean, sometimes they'll be good, sometimes they'll be bad. If you buy a box and you think they're pretty good, if you rest them, they'll probably become better. But otherwise probably not. All right, lad. Can you? I don't know if you want to add anything from there. That was kind of a long rant.
No, go ahead.
Tyler AR 87. I don't know if you got anything on top of your mind now, but can you think of a favorite New World cigar that isn't Fuente, Davidoff, or Padron? Because we've both been talking about Fuente now, and that's the cigar brand you would want.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess one of the first ones that do come to mind is the My Father La Flor de las Antillas.
Nice. Good.
I think that's a good one. Also, like budget stick, and I guess which is like what you're getting at is if it's non Padron, non Fuente, or yeah.
Good.
So yeah, I'll say that one.
I'll
that
say
barnyardiness. I miss it.
yeah, that's a really good one. I just got another one of those actually. I wanted to have some for a day when I don't know what to smoke.
Mm.
I'll say Oliva Serie V Milanio. I really really love in a sort of similar level where it's a big brand that's really and a big line that's very easy to get everywhere, but it's consistently really good quality. My favorite probably that I've had recently was the Illusione Ypres series. I really love that one.
Right, yeah.
That was a really spectacular cigar. And then like I think most Foundation stuff is just really good. Like those are the smaller brands that I've had recently that's like very good. That's not from the major ones.
The Charter Oak.
Charter Oak is very good. Yeah. As that could go into another question here, which was JP Truss, who said, "What cigars would you consider underrated by the community?" I'd say the Charter Oak is one. That should be for many people. Probably it should be the go-to beginner cigar or like cheap cigar to stock your humidor with because it's so good quality. It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable. All right, lad, do you want to end off with some cheap recommendations? We only have 2 more questions, so it's pretty good to just do the whole list, right? I don't know if you have any in mind, but these questions came in from Stuart JA1016, and let's not think about the number he gave in, but basically the question was top 5 under $25 Robustos and top 5 $25 cigars from Cuba. That price, I don't know what it's related to because that's very high for. I mean, in Sweden, almost every Cuban cigar is under that price. So let's say under 100 crowns in our price range, pretty much. Do you have anything in mind, Lod? I'd say immediately. I was gonna
say the Ras. No, I was gonna say I was gonna say the Ramon Ayón, especially selected as a Robusto and Cuban. To answer
it's definitely under that
2
price
questions
for us.
with 1 tone. Yeah.
But it's not
exactly.
Yeah. I think okay, if you want to get a Robusto that's actually cheaper, and you had this one not too long ago, the Vegueros Centrofinos is not a bad shout. That's actually a Robusto size, and it's kind of a cheaper cigar than most. El Rey del Mundo Choix Supreme sometimes is priced much lower than other Cuban Robustos. I don't know why that is, but it's actually worth a look. And the Por la Rañaga Picadores, at least in Sweden, are like it's like $9 here, where most Cuban Robustos are 13 or something. They're much cheaper. My one line. Yeah, go ahead, Lad.
I just thought about one when like scrolling through this. The Vega Fina 1998, which is I guess a bit like thicker ring gauge, but
you're going in general.
That was
okay, that's true. He didn't say Cuban in the first.
Yeah, for Robustos,
Any Robustos. Yeah, true. That's a good.
That was a great smoke. I remember that.
Yeah, that's actually also a very underrated cigar. That's a very underrated one. For cheap Cubans, it's always very difficult to give recommendations, but I would say I have a few. First and foremost, it's the 2 Mille Fleurs, especially the Partagas Mille Fleur. That's a really good, really cheap Cuban cigar. And then the other ones I have, because everything is to the palate, but it's the trio of the Cremas, which is a Cuban Vitola. It's a 40 ring gauge or 42 by 140 millimeters, which is like 6 inches almost.
Yeah.
They're really long. They're really slim. They're about $6 usually. And you have the H. Upmann Majestics that I mentioned earlier. You have the Hoyo de Monterrey Palmas Extra. And then you have the Partagas Super Partagas. Those are 3 fantastic brands. They're much cheaper, those cigars. You can often find them with age on them because they're so unknown. They're really nice, sort of longer Vitola. You always get an hour plus out of them, and they're so cheap. They're basically priced a little bit under most Petite Coronas even, and I don't know why it is because they're big cigars. Yeah, that's it. Rant over.
Yeah, perfect.
No, I really recommend the Cremas for sure. Like they're so unknown and underrated and cheap. I don't know what it is. But they're much better than a lot of the other.
The Palmas Extras is very nice as well, just for that Hoyo cedar, like wood flavor. Very
light,
nice and
creamy,
nice packaging.
Yeah, and like if you're paying like $6 for each single, and they're like from 2019 or something, that's like a steal, because they're just not produced that much. They have been out of stock recently in Sweden, but in general, look for those, and you'll be very happy, and your wallet will be very happy.
Nice.
All right, we did it. We went through all these questions.
We actually did it. Yeah. That felt good.
Yeah, good
Get
quick fire.
this done.
I hope that taught someone at least something. I hope that was not just repetitions of stuff we've said every time. No, but for real though, thank you guys so much for sending in those questions. It's really fun to go through some stuff that's actually been asked for. You know, like it's fun to every once in a while ask for people's thoughts and actually what they want to hear and go through that for an episode. So
yeah. Thanks to everyone who's sending questions and to everyone who's listened and stayed with us. We will be back shortly with some interesting stuff.
Hell yes.
Right? I don't dare to say much more here, but
no, we'll announce it on Instagram, I guess, or the next podcast whenever stuff is official. But some fun stuff coming up for sure.
Perfect. All right. As always, thank you guys, and cheers.
Yeah, cheers, guys.